Let's talk about my finished knit projects. Hello everyone, Rochelle here, and I'm back to share some yarn goodness with you all today. Okay, so I have a couple of knitted projects that I want to share with you all. Let's go ahead and talk about the first one. It is the home cardigan that is designed by Cliche. Now, this is a paid pattern and it calls for bulky weight yarn. So, the home cardigan, it has a drop shoulder V-neck design that I absolutely love. And also it has buttons up the front. So I will show myself wearing this a little bit later in the video. But for now, we'll talk a little bit about the pattern and the yarn and stuff like that. So it does include short rows, which was, you know what, doing short rows this time around wasn't too bad because I actually knew what I was doing this time, but I still needed to follow a YouTube video. Nothing wrong with that. Gotta do what you gotta do, right? So yeah, it does sit slightly cropped. But for me, my torso is so short that even if a sweater or a cardigan is supposed to be cropped, it's still full length on me. So it's not like super cropped, but it does sit at my hip, like at the very top of my hip though. But it is supposed to sit at your hip, but you can lengthen it. Yeah, so really like that. You can lengthen it if you want to, you know, if you have a longer torso, or maybe you prefer something that's just longer. Also, this pattern is amazing because it does include video tutorials. I love that. There were definitely a few techniques, such as the German short row, that I had to look at. But I will tell you what, though, Cage did an excellent job with this pattern because the way she explains how to do short rows are really good. And for you seasoned knitters out there, you might not even need the video that goes along with it. But she explained it really well. Oh, the yarn. Yes, I have a little bit left. So the yarn that I used was Knit Picks Brava Bulky. It is 136 yards, 100 grams. And so I ended up using 7 skeins of this. I have 10 skeins left and I have no idea what I'm going to do with them. But I'm sure some nice bulky weight pattern will come along and I'll be able to use it. But yeah, this is a number 5 bulky weight yarn. It is 100% premium acrylic and it is machine washable. Now I bought mine from Knit Picks, but also We Crochet offers it as well. So I definitely understand why it's called premium acrylic yarn. Like this yarn is premium acrylic. Like it is soft and squishy. It feels amazing. It really does. And I highly recommend this yarn. It's wonderful. And I definitely would use this yarn again. I'd also make this pattern again. But anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about my thoughts later. But it's just a wonderful combination between the yarn and the project. So, the bust circumference for this pattern is between a 41.5 to 67 inches. And in centimeters, that's 105 to 170. And the ease is 8 to 10 inches or 20 to 25 inches. Oh, excuse me, 20 to 25 centimeters of built-in positive ease. I love the fact that the ease was built into this project. That is just so helpful. It's something that I would love for more designers to do, is to go ahead and give you that built-in measurement. I think that is fantastic. Okay, so for the needle size, I used a US 10, which is a 6mm knitting needle. Now, the pattern does call for a 10.5, but when I did my gauge, I got gauge on the US 10. So I did knit a gauge swatch. I was good, and I'm so glad that I did. I'm so glad that I knitted a gauge swatch because it let me know that I needed to go down a knitting needle size. So that was fantastic. Also, I used a new technique for drying my swatch. So I had been trying to think of new ways, and since I was using acrylic yarn, I figured I could be a little bit more adventurous. So I looked up some different methods of blocking swatches, and the top one was to steam block it, but I don't have a steamer, and I didn't want to try using my iron. Even though I did see where you could use your iron to steam. Let me know if you have ever used your clothing iron to steam anything. For me, I'm just afraid I would end up melting my project. But yeah, so wet blocking was also another. But I was like, let's try the blow dryer, and it was pretty cool. I still had to let it air dry a little bit, but yeah, pretty neat technique to try out. And so, yeah, I'm really happy that I did the gaze swatch because it really, really saved me on this project. So, in terms of the sizing, I knitted the size XL and I really like the fit. I will say that the oversized trend is not really my thing. And I feel like if I was to knit this again, which is a high likelihood that I will because I love this project. If I was to knit it again, I would go down one size only because I made the size that went with my actual bust measurement. But if I really had thought about it, do I want 8 to 10 inches of positive ease? No. I think I would rather have about 4 to 6 inches of positive ease. Now, it is a cardigan, so of course it's a layering piece, so you do need extra ease. I just don't think I need 10 inches of it. So I would definitely go down a size if I was to knit it again. But, it's rare that I re-knit something, but this definitely goes on the list of things that I would re-knit. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, that is the size that I made. And also it took me 1 month. It took me 1 month to knit this cardigan. That is insane. It was wonderful. I loved it. I knit this in 1 month. That's crazy. And I know of course it has to do with the bulky yarn and the large needles, but I just thought that was so cool. And also, I can tell that my knitting skills have improved because I don't know, it just clicked. Like I just had no problems going through this at all, and I feel like that's because I can look at things and recognize the knitting technique that I need to do. Yeah, it's great. Now, I will say that the yarn is pilling. So I will definitely have to get a gleaner or something like that to take care of that. So yeah, I'll definitely have to do that. Let's see what else. Because I want to tell you all the pros and the cons, the good and the bad. And I really wouldn't say there's any bad, but I have noticed some pilling a little bit. So I'm going to have to invest in a gleaner. All right. So also, as I was mentioning, the pattern is super, super well written. I love the little details. I love the font of the pattern. I love that there's a little extra page in the pattern that you print out that's just for your notes. I think that's awesome. I don't see it very often. Of course, you could just, if you don't want to print that, you don't have to. But I just thought that, it was kind of cool that that the designer even like thought about that. I thought that was really neat. I did change one thing. I just changed one thing. Okay. So this Italian bond off thing, I know a lot of people love the Italian bond off, but I'm just not sure if it's for me. So this pattern calls for an Italian bond off, aka a tubular bond off, aka a sewn bond off. I don't know which one of those is the most correct one, but I would go with sewn bond off. So I attempted to do the sewn bind off, and it just won't working, y'all. I just didn't like it. So I scrapped that, and so then I did the Jenny surprisingly stretchy bind off, which I love for a lot of projects, especially like hats. However, I realized that it was making it too stretchy, and it was kind of starting to get a little wavy. And so I was like, you know what? We are just going to do a good old 1 by 1 bond off in pattern and call it done. And I'm so glad that I made that decision because a lot of times we get so caught up in the fanciest bind off or the fanciest cast on, or not changing things from the pattern because we don't want to deviate for whatever reason. And I totally get that. I am definitely that type of person. But I also realize that my knitting needs to be enjoyable. And if that means changing the bind off and getting the same result, then that's what I'm going to do. So that's what I did on this pattern. And I'm really, really glad that I did that because the fit is nice. The amount of stretchiness is nice. And I just watched my tension. I made sure that I wasn't binding off too tight. But in the pattern, it does mention that you want to bind off rather tightly. So yeah, and it kept, it has its shape and it's wonderful, and I have no complaints about the bind off. I really, really don't. Okay, so I did block this. I did a wet block and then I threw it in the dryer because it is acrylic weight yarn, and that is the beauty of using acrylic and even superwash yarn. But even superwash yarn, I'm like, I don't think I can throw that in the dryer, at least not too many times, because I still feel like it would probably felt. But this is acrylic yarn, so I was able to wet block it, put it in the dryer. Yeah, because I like the fit so much that I didn't need to lay it out on the blocking mat and pin it and all that stuff. I felt like, I wanted to really retain that shape. So yeah, I just threw it in the dryer and it was fantastic. Of course, I just didn't set it and forget it. I did check on the cardigan every 15 minutes. I set a timer. And so every 15 minutes, I would go check the dryer, make sure everything is good, and everything was totally fine. I had no issues with it. Let me know if you have ever blocked a pattern or, blocked a project in the dryer, and let me know which fiber you used as well. So I really like that. And the blocking just transformed this garment. So before I blocked it, I had a lot of extra fabric in the arms. It's a little stiff, like right here in the arms. But after blocking it, y'all, I just love the way it drapes now. This pattern, this cardigan just drapes so well. And I try to wear it every chance that I get. And it's fantastic. I'm so happy that I blocked it the way that I did, because the drape on it just is absolutely amazing. And I'm really, really happy. It took a lot of the bulk out of the project as well. And it also really relaxed the button band, which I absolutely love. So I did try it on as I knit it. Definitely had to do that because I didn't want to get too far. And then I'm like, oh, it's not working. So I did try it on as I go or as I went. And it is a bit oversized, but even while trying it on, it was a bit oversized. So I knew that it was going to be a little bit oversized, but I felt like, I could handle it, and, I still would be happy with it. But like I said before, if I was to knit it again, I would really take into mind what the pattern was telling me, that 10 inches is built in. So if I don't want that, I might need to go down a size or two. But, I love the fit and the drape, after blocking it. And another thing too that really didn't surprise me was when you look at the pattern photo, the sample that the designer put on her Ravelry page. If you look at it, it has some bunching of fabric under the arms. And that's how mine looked before blocking. And so it's really not a surprise to me that this garment has extra fabric and that it's oversized, because when you look at the sample photo, that is the way it was designed. So I just feel like it fits the way it was designed, and that's totally fine. Yeah, as I mentioned, like I just want to wear this all the time, and I have been trying to wear it anytime that I can. I even have worn it around the house. It's just, I'm so proud of it. I am so proud of this knit. I really am, and it's just a great way to start the year, because this is my first knitted garment of the year. I started, of course, last year, but to finish it this year is just so nice, and I am so happy with it. I will say I do have short arms, And I think my husband calls them T-Rex arms. I do have short arms, so the sleeves are a bit long for me. And that's on me, not the pattern. If I was to make this again, I would definitely probably take out, I would say maybe 4 inches. Because even before blocking, the sleeves were a bit long, so blocking really didn't affect that. But yeah, but I don't mind it though, because a lot of times when people wear cardigans, oops, I think I got it around backwards. But anyway, when I'm wearing it, it fits like this. And you know what? A lot of people like that look. I don't mind it. It's just that my arms are really short. So I'm thinking maybe I could just fold it back like this and it'll be just fine. Problem solved. Like it wouldn't be a problem at all. And it'll hit me right there. So just whatever way I want to wear it is totally fine. It's really versatile and I can fold up the cuffs if I want to. So overall, I would say that I am very happy with this project. I love the colors and I love the buttons. I just absolutely love this project so much. So let's talk about these buttons, y'all. They are 1-inch shank buttons and they are animal print. And they're really cool. They have just one closure in the back. I have 4 total buttons. Now, these were not the original buttons that I had planned to have. I have a bit of a story with that one. So the original buttons that I had, I tried to put them on and my darning needle couldn't even fit through the holes for me to weave it through. And of course, I couldn't have used a regular sewing needle. So I was like, oh man, what am I going to do? So I went through my button stash and I found these, and these are amazing. And the process of putting the buttons on, I found it to be very meditative. And basically I just used stitch markers to line up all of the rows so my button band wouldn't be crooked. Like I didn't want my button bands to be crooked or anything like that. So I just lined it up and I just stitched them on and just making sure that everything was even and that the buttonholes were lining up. And just to keep the stitches in place. Let me know if you are going to be making one, because I am just so incredibly happy with this cardigan.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I could stare at you for 100 years and I never blink an eye. You were beautiful, just like a flower. I could walk with you for 1,000,000 miles and my feet would not get tired. Where you go, I'll go, winter or summer. I don't care the seasons change, 'cause darling, I'll stay right here with you. Every night and every day, 'cause darling, there's nothing in this world I'd rather do. Never been this close to heaven. Never felt something just like this ecstasy. Never been this close to heaven.
Let's talk about my Skog hat. So this one is super exciting. It was designed by Jean-Philippe Cliche. He is a French-Canadian designer. And I test knit this. As soon as I saw the pattern on Instagram, I immediately went and signed up for this. It's such a cool hat. So this hat, it's already out. It came out, I think it was January 17th was the release. But either way, I will leave a link in the description box below to all the patterns that I talk about today. And so this design was inspired by the Norwegian word skog, which means forest. And I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. It could be skog, now that I think about it. But, me and pronunciation. But anyway, it is supposed to resemble a traditional lumberjack hat. Now, of course, this just goes wonderfully with my home cardigan is stinking cute. I love it and it feels amazing on my head. I think I'm going to keep this on. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So it uses a bulky weight yarn. And so the yarns that I used was one skein of Lion Brand Hue and Me in the Magic Hour colorway. And that was for the beanie body. And so for the part here, oh, one more thing. So the Hue and Me yarn is 98% acrylic and 2% polyester. And I use one skein of Lion Brand homespun stripes in the beachside colorway. And I use that for the beanie border. And so that is 80% acrylic and 20% wool. And it's so cool because I only used about half a skein of each. Both yarns are super, super soft, really easy to work with, and it's great. Now, the pattern originally called for an alpaca yarn. However, I am allergic to alpaca boucle, which is awful. I tried my best to find a boucle yarn that was close to like an alpaca boucle, and the homespun stripes was the closest thing that I found. But I definitely recommend the yarn. I recommend the pattern. It's so fun. It's so cute, and it feels amazing on my head. This is like the most unique thing ever. Now, it's not meant to, or at least I don't think it's meant to be rolled down. But if you do roll it down, it's just simply like this. Yeah, that's all to it. And then you just roll up the sides like so. So it's a wonderful, wonderful hat. And it does come in two sizes. Either you can make the small size or the large size. And so I knit the small size. So the small size is for head circumferences of 51 to 56 centimeters, which is 20 to 22 inches. For larger heads, the circumference is 56 to 61 centimeters, which is 22 to 24 inches. And I did wet block it, which was quite fun to wet block that hat. So I did wet block it, and it was a super, super quick knit. I was able to knit it in about a day and a half. So you could probably knit this in one day if like you started early. But I knit it like pretty much in 2 afternoons almost. It was super, super quick to knit. And yeah, that's amazing. The pattern, definitely check it out. I love the ribbing on it. Now, I will say that one thing I can definitely improve on are my crown decreases. I didn't really do the best job with those. Even though I followed the pattern, it's not the pattern, it's me. Crown decreases in hats is just something I've always had a problem with. All my stitches lined up, all my stitch counts lined up, everything lined up just fine. But, I could definitely do a little bit better on my crown decreases, just making them look more uniform. And I think I might have like a tension issue. I think that's really the issue. Yeah, so that's just something that I really need to work on. But overall, I do recommend this hat. It is such a fun knit, and I just really, really enjoy working on it. I wanted to show you all the skeins that I had left over from the hat. And so this is the Hue and Me yarn. Like I mentioned, I still have less than half because I did measure it and it's a little less than half. So unfortunately, I don't have enough to make another hat. Now, maybe like a child size hat. Unfortunately, the pattern isn't graded for a child. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with these, but they are fun. The Hue and Me kind of has like a heather look, and the homespun definitely has like a boucle texture to it. So if you're someone like me that's allergic to alpaca boucle, or maybe it's just not your thing, definitely check out the Lion Brain Homespun. It's a really good yarn and substitution for that. So I just wanted to show this to you all. So you can check it out if you want. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. I had a lot of fun showing off my projects. This cardigan feels amazing and cozy. Thank you all so much for just joining me, and let me know what you worked on while you watch, or did you just chill? I would love to know. Let me know if you have wanted to like knit any hats. Maybe you haven't knit a hat before. I would say this is a pretty good beginner hat. Let me know if you've ever knit a cardigan before. I would love that. This is my second cardigan that I've knit. My first cardigan was my novice cardigan, which I also knit too big. One day, y'all, I'm going to understand positive ease and how it works. One of these days. But either way, I learned something from each pattern that I knit. And I feel like that is the beauty of knitting. The more I do it, the more that I learn. So no complaints here. All right, y'all. Until next time. Bye.